Hollywood's golden age sold the world an illusion of perfection. Elegant gowns, flawless makeup, romantic close-ups. But behind the camera, the truth was far less glamorous. Studio lights were brutal, sets were overcrowded, hygiene standards were wildly different, and personal struggles were often hidden behind forced smiles and heavy perfume. What audiences never saw were the whispered complaints, the crew members stepping back, the co-stars holding their breath during close scenes. Today, we're exposing 10 classic Hollywood actresses whose hygiene habits became infamous behind the scenes. So shocking that some co-stars refused to stand near them. These aren't tabloid rumors. These are long-standing accounts from makeup artists, assistants, directors, and fellow actors who witnessed it all. Let's pull back the curtain. 1. Greta Garbo, beauty that came with a stench. Greta Garbo was worshipped as a goddess of classic Hollywood. Silent films turned her into an untouchable symbol of elegance, mystery, and impossible beauty. On screen, she floated through scenes like royalty. Off-screen, however, the illusion collapsed the moment she entered a room. Garbo believed strongly in what she called natural living. That belief extended to her hygiene, or rather, her refusal of it. She openly avoided bathing for long stretches of time, insisting that soap destroyed the skin's natural oils. While this philosophy may sound harmless, its consequences were anything but. Crew members, makeup artists, and assistants quietly complained that Garbo carried a strong, musky, unwashed odor that lingered wherever she went. On small sound stages with limited ventilation, the smell became impossible to ignore. Co-stars were seen physically leaning away from her during close scenes, adjusting blocking not for the camera, but to breathe. Her clothing only made things worse. Garbo favored old sweaters and heavy fabrics that were rarely washed. Assistants recalled that these garments absorbed sweat and body odor, creating a stale, earthy scent that clung to her for hours. Directors privately complained that indoor sets filled with her smell during long shooting days. Yet no one dared confront her. Garbo was too powerful, too profitable, too protected. The studio preferred silence over scandal. Audiences continued to believe she was perfection itself, never knowing that Hollywood's most mysterious beauty often arrived wrapped in an odor that contradicted everything she represented. 2. Joan Crawford, obsession with control, defeated by sweat. Joan Crawford built her image on discipline, control, and absolute perfection. Every eyebrow, every costume, every movement was calculated. She ruled sets with fear and authority. But there was one thing she could never control: her body. Under the brutal heat of studio lights, Crawford reportedly sweated excessively. And not subtly. Costumers described her dresses as soaked through after long takes. Makeup artists struggled to keep her face intact as perspiration melted foundation and powder within minutes. The smell followed. A sharp, sour odor of sweat mixed with cosmetics filled the air around her. Even her expensive perfumes, layered heavily, couldn't fully mask it. Instead, they created an even stronger, nauseating mix that lingered between takes. Co-stars whispered about it. Some complained that standing near her during emotional or physical scenes became deeply uncomfortable. The irony was brutal. A woman obsessed with cleanliness and control became known behind the scenes for an overpowering body odor problem. Studios covered it up. Publicists kept her image pristine. But behind closed doors, Joan Crawford's sweating was an open secret, proof that Hollywood glamour often collapsed under hot lights and pressure. 3. Clara Bow, raw stardom, raw reality. Clara Bow was Hollywood's original it girl. Wild, magnetic, irresistible. But her rise from poverty left scars, including hygiene habits that shocked elite studio environments. Bow reportedly disliked bathing, sometimes going days without washing. She often wore the same clothes repeatedly, even during long shooting schedules. Assistants responsible for her wardrobe complained that costumes absorbed unpleasant smells quickly, forcing frequent replacements. Her breath became another issue. Multiple crew members recalled that Bow rarely brushed her teeth consistently, leading to noticeable bad breath during close-up scenes. Directors adjusted camera angles and distances not for artistic reasons but survival. Hollywood elites looked down on her. They whispered that she was uncultured, unclean, unrefined, but they still used her. Her raw sexuality sold tickets. Her discomfort was irrelevant. Audiences adored her carefree charm, completely unaware that her stardom came wrapped in odor studios desperately tried to hide. For Ava Gardner, last night's party still on her skin. Ava Gardner lived fast and smelled like it. Famous for all-night partying, heavy drinking, and chain smoking, Gardner often arrived on set still carrying the scent of last night's excess. Cigarettes, alcohol, sweat, stale perfume. It all mixed into a powerful odor that makeup teams struggled to erase. She frequently skipped showers if she overslept, choosing instead to splash perfume and rush to set. Under intense lights, the perfume broke down, turning sour. Crew members described the smell as nightclub residue. Costumers complained her clothes retained odors even after cleaning. Makeup artists wiped her down before filming, sometimes multiple times a day. Yet no one complained publicly. Ava Gardner was too charismatic, too dangerous, too magnetic. Her scent became just another part of her legend. Wild, uncontrolled, and impossible to tame. 5. Bette Davis, talent wrapped in tobacco smoke. Bette Davis didn't walk into a room. She smoked her way into it. A relentless chain smoker, Davis went through packs of cigarettes daily. The smell clung to her hair, skin, breath, and clothing. Entire rooms filled with tobacco the moment she arrived. Co-stars joked, nervously, that you could smell her before you saw her. Costumes absorbed the stench, forcing wardrobe teams to air them out constantly. Clothes scenes were especially difficult due to her smoke-heavy breath. Makeup artists hated working near her. The combination of smoke, sweat, and long hours created a suffocating atmosphere. But no one dared complain. Davis was untouchable. Her acting genius outweighed everything, including the cloud of cigarette smoke that followed her everywhere. 6. Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's filthy secret behind the smile. Marilyn Monroe was marketed as flawless, delicate perfection, the ultimate Hollywood icon. Every smile, every sway of her hips, every sighing glance was carefully crafted to project effortless glamour. But behind the lights and cameras, the reality was far grittier. Monroe struggled with severe health issues, chronic insomnia, depression, and complete physical exhaustion. Crew members would quietly remark that during long shooting days, especially under the unrelenting studio lights, Marilyn often emitted a noticeable odor. She avoided deodorant entirely, fearing it would irritate her skin. Instead, she relied on sweet, heavy perfumes, a tactic that only worsened the problem once sweat mixed with fragrance. Costume designers reported that some dresses absorbed a sour, cloying smell, requiring repeated cleaning or mid-shoot rotation. Famous gowns were swapped out simply because the odor became too obvious on camera. Makeup artists recalled the silent tension before close-up scenes, worried that the smell might betray her carefully crafted image. Monroe's insomnia, dependency on medications, and mental health struggles often meant she arrived on set unwashed. She tried to conceal it with powders and sprays, but nothing fully masked the human reality behind the glamour. Even as audiences were enchanted by her breathless voice and luminous presence, those behind the cameras saw a woman fraying at the edges. The world never knew how much Monroe's physical and emotional struggles shaped her, masked by Hollywood's obsession with her image. Her body and mind were collapsing quietly, a stark reminder of the invisible costs of stardom. 7. Tallulah Bankhead, proudly dirty and untouchable. Tallulah Bankhead didn't just have a challenging odor. She openly flaunted it, almost as a rebellious badge of honor. She despised bathing, scorned Hollywood's obsession with cleanliness, and made no effort to mask her personal habits. On set, she often arrived smelling of sweat, stale alcohol, and cigarette smoke, a combination so pungent it made co-stars instinctively recoil. Her indulgences were extreme. She smoked incessantly, drank heavily, and rarely changed clothes, allowing the stench to follow her everywhere. Crew members described her dressing room as almost uninhabitable, a space where costume designers waged a losing battle against the smell, trying to keep her garments wearable. Actors on close contact scenes endured her odor silently, sometimes with visible grimaces, as Bankhead's sheer presence dominated the room. What made her truly notorious was her unbothered confidence. She didn't apologize or try to conform. She believed her immense talent and indomitable personality rendered her untouchable. And in many ways, she was right. Directors tolerated her extreme habits because she delivered unforgettable, magnetic performances. Her smell became part of her legend, a tangible emblem of Hollywood's curious double standard. Genius and charisma could excuse almost any excess. Tallulah Bankhead's odor wasn't a flaw. It was an extension of her fearlessness, an audacious declaration that talent could trump all societal norms. 8. Jean Harlow, chemical stench of manufactured beauty. Jean Harlow's iconic platinum blonde hair was more than a fashion statement. It was a chemical hazard. Maintaining her signature look required relentless bleaching with ammonia and peroxide, creating an acrid, eye-watering stench that clung to her scalp and lingered in small studio spaces for hours. Hairdressers frequently complained, describing the odor as harsh on the senses, a constant reminder of the unnatural standards of beauty Hollywood demanded. Harlow rarely relied on bathing to manage body odor, instead layering on perfume, which clashed with the chemical smell of her hair and the sweat of long shooting days. Costume designers struggled to keep her outfits usable, as the combination of chemicals, perfume, and sweat saturated the fabrics. Co-stars quietly dreaded extended scenes with Harlow, knowing the air would be thick, almost suffocating, during filming. Hollywood marketed her as the epitome of sex appeal, innocent yet alluring. But behind the scenes, Harlow's beauty was anything but effortless. Every aspect of her appearance was engineered, and the resulting smells were tangible proof of the physical and olfactory toll exacted by Hollywood. Those who worked with her described her presence as overwhelming, a mix of chemical fumes and human sweat. Jean Harlow's story serves as a stark reminder that the perfection of stars often comes at a very real, very stinky cost, highlighting the industry's disregard for the well-being of its performers. 9. Judy Garland, broken by the system, body and all. Judy Garland's body odor wasn't born of neglect. It was a cruel byproduct of Hollywood's relentless exploitation. From the moment she was a child, studios forced her into punishing work schedules, grinding out long days of rehearsals, takes, and public appearances with little regard for her physical or emotional well-being. To keep her alert and performing, she was prescribed a cocktail of stimulants and sedatives, creating an unnatural rhythm in her body that disrupted normal sleep, digestion, and personal hygiene routines. Under the blazing studio lights, she would sweat heavily, and the stress-induced perspiration added another layer to her struggles. Costumers and makeup artists were constantly aware of the issue. Despite repeated washing, her costumes absorbed lingering smells, making it difficult to present a pristine image on camera. Makeup artists noted that during tense or emotionally charged scenes, Judy's anxiety and exhaustion would intensify the scent, reminding everyone behind the scenes that the star's frailty was real, even if the audience never saw it. She tried valiantly to mask the smell with powders and perfumes, but the effects were temporary, an imperfect solution to a problem created by a system that treated her as a machine rather than a child. Even her personal hygiene attempts were constrained by exhaustion. After grueling shoots, she often had little energy to bathe properly, yet she was acutely self-conscious about her condition. Garland's shame was compounded by the impossibility of escaping the studio's pressure, her body forced into constant motion while her mind and spirit suffered. Her odor on set wasn't a matter of vanity. It was a symptom of abuse, a human reaction to stress, fatigue, and chemical interference with her natural rhythms. Every time she stepped in front of the camera, she was performing not just for art, but to survive a system that had systematically dismantled her childhood, health, and personal autonomy. Her odor was a subtle but powerful testament to the silent suffering beneath the glittering facade of Hollywood stardom. 10. Mae West, perfume can't hide everything. Mae West treated her odor as part of her persona, an extension of her bold, fearless presence. She believed that thick, heady layers of perfume could mask any trace of natural body smell, and in practice, it created an almost theatrical aura that dominated a room. Crew members joked that you didn't need to see Mae West to know she had arrived. Her scent preceded her like a herald announcing a queen. Under hot studio lights, the effect became even more pronounced. Sweat, cigarette smoke, and perfume mingled into an almost tangible haze, making the air around her feel heavy and suffocating. Costume designers faced constant challenges. Fabrics absorbed the potent mixture, requiring repeated, often extreme treatments to remove the lingering scent. Dressing rooms became extensions of her olfactory influence, remaining imbued with her aroma long after she left. Mae West never apologized or tried to moderate her habits. Instead, she embraced the intensity, seeing it as part of her act. To her, being overwhelming in voice, presence, or smell was a performance in itself. Directors and studio executives tolerated it because she brought in audiences, banked box office success, and embodied a charisma that could not be ignored. Her scent became inseparable from her identity, a sensory signature of confidence, audacity, and unapologetic power. Co-stars and crew learned to navigate her presence, developing subtle strategies to endure and work alongside her without conflict. But few denied that Mae West commanded every room she entered. Her odor was not a flaw. It was a tangible part of her legend, a fragrant emblem of one of Hollywood's most indomitable personalities. It reminded everyone that true stardom could override discomfort, inconvenience, or societal expectation. A fragrant declaration that some presences are impossible to ignore, no matter what they carry with them.